What's going on, y'all? I'm back once again. And today I want to tell y'all my story. This is my hip hop journey. You know what I'm saying? And like all journeys, we start from the beginning. Me and my family is from Liberia. You know, I was born around October 8th, 1988. And we came here looking for a better life. There was a civil war going on. You know what I'm saying? And we lost everything. You know, the rebels came and they took everything down to baby pictures. I mean, everything. So you know, me, my mom, my two sisters got on a plane and flew here to America. And got here. It was about 1991. You know, I was about 2.5 years old, and not much longer after that, around 92, 93, I discovered hip hop. You know, now I didn't know at the time that it would be the love of my life. It would, it would get me through some of my toughest times. Uh, it's pretty much just been everything. My first hip hop memories are definitely Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg. You know what I'm saying? That was that year. I remember nothing but a G thing. Gin and Juice, What's My Name? I mean, all them songs, I was absolutely hypnotized with hip hop. Um, I mean, it became almost an obsession. You know, I thought about it every day, every night. It was pretty much the only music I listened to, for the most part. You know, a little bit of R&B here and there, but mainly, I was a hip hop baby. From day one, that's what I wanted to hear. You know, now back in those days, it wasn't like we have today. You know, with the new technology, with people, you know, you could get music is at the click of your hand. You know, but back in those days, I had to catch it on the radio. You know, the local radio station, Hot 106.3, or BET, and sometimes a little bit of MTV. But outside of that, I mean, it just wasn't much access to us. You know, the times was different. You know, we had gatekeepers that decided what music, what music that the people wanted to hear, and you know, wasn't much option. So I just had to catch whatever I could get. So yeah, my first time participating in hip hop, you know, trying to be an active member, was about sixth grade. I was 11 years old. The year was 1999 when I picked up the pen for the first time. You know, and I just discovered the Hot Boys. You know, Juvenile, Lil Wayne, BG, Young Turk, and the Cash Money Millionaires, which also included Baby and Manny Fresh. I mean, and I was just obsessed with those guys. You know, at that time, you know, saying I was still young, didn't really know much about myself, and everything about them, their image, their rhymes, and everything they talked about. I mean, I just loved everything about it. I tried to emulate it as much as possible, and I picked up the pen for the first time. And you know, I was so overzealous. I ended up writing like 3 albums. You know, just as a kid. You know, I would go on this site called Ola.com, and I would, you know, it had pretty much, it was Rap Genius before Rap Genius. You know, they didn't decipher what lyrics meant, but they showed you what the lyrics were. And I would go there pretty much every day, and I pretty much learned song structure. I learned, you know, the format to how to write a song. It was either a verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, or it was chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Something like that. But from that point, I hit the ground running. You know, I would take their flows and just change the words. You know, for example, Juvenile has a song called "I Got That Fire." I got that fire, girl. Holla at a nigga if you want that Oscar Mayer. You know, I would change that to "I'm off the heezy." I'm off the heezy, girl. Holla at a nigga if you don't want nobody cheesy. You know what I'm saying? So I literally wrote about 3 albums, pretty much taking the Hot Boys flow and just switching the words up. You know, until one day, a friend of a friend You know, he's seen our raps because I used to also rap with my friends. We got together, made a crew called Rich Niggas. Once again, influenced by the Hot Boys. And we didn't even rap it for him. He just read it off of paper. And even just reading it, he was like, this sounds like the Hot Boys. You know, and I just remember getting like a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, that didn't feel good at all. I'm like, damn, like we didn't even rap it for him. And he just read it and was able to tell immediately that it was the Hot Boys. And one of the golden rules of Hot Boys, one of the golden rules in hip hop was no biting. No biting at all. We don't rock like that. So immediately I'm like, man, I gotta create my own style. Like I've been copying for so long. That's all I'm doing. So I immediately went to trying to create my own style and, you know, do my own thing. You know, and you know, it worked for the most part. I started writing. I would write stories about, like, you know, I didn't even have no girls at the time, but I would write stories about girls that I was fake dating. You know what I'm saying? Stories about wanting to grow up and be a basketball player. I mean, all type of kid stuff. You know what I'm saying? And halfway between my 7th grade year, I switched schools. You know, I was doing so bad at one school, which was a public school. I went back to a Catholic school that I originally started off at. And once I got there, you know, I got back with all my old friends, and they was rapping as well. So now, not only am I back with my old friends, we all rapping together. We would freestyle at lunch. You know what I'm saying? We would make diss raps about each other's favorite basketball players. I mean, it was a blast. And this is around the time, I say about 8th grade year, this is when the whole Jay-Z Nas battle happened. So everyone was into battling. I mean, everyone. If you was rapping, you had to battle. That's just what it was. So, you know, and again, my style just kept evolving and evolving. And then one day on a class field trip to Maine, a friend of mine, you know, they put this movie on, and my friend goes, man, forget that movie. You gotta listen to this. And he pulls out a CD, and it was called the Marshall Mathers LP. And I remember I'm like, who the Eminem? And I knew who Eminem was. I remember a few of his singles. My Name Is, Forgot About Dre. You know, a few different songs that M had put up. But matter of fact, no, not Forgot About Dre. My Name Is, and I forgot Eminem's other single on his first song. But anyway, so I knew who Eminem was, but at that time I wasn't somebody who bought albums, you know, because I never had much money growing up, so wasn't really able to get my hands on albums. I had to settle for listening to singles. So when I first heard this album, I mean, Marshall Mathers LP, it just blew my mind. Not only because of the crazy shit he was talking about, but the way he was rhyming. Like, he seemed like he wanted to rhyme every word with every other word in a sentence. I mean, it was crazy. It was amazing style. And at that point, my rhymes was more simple, like the Hot Boys. But once I heard that, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I'm like, I gotta start doing that. And I would start getting and trying to rhyme every word in every sentence with every other word. You know, I mean, it'd be like, beats is symmetric, gotta be direct hit. If I'm disrespected, bullets are ejected. I mean, you know, them type of stuff. I remember giving it to my friend, letting him listen to it, and he's just like, yo, what are you trying to do right now? I mean, I was trying to be like Eminem. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we graduate middle school, go to high school, and once again, me and all my friends go in different directions. Some go to, you know, I went to public school, Hope High School. Most of my friends went to other Catholic schools or just other public high schools. So now, once again, I kind of fell back off of hip hop. You know, I still love listening to it, but as far as writing, you know, I might have wrote a few raps in 9th grade, but I eventually just put it to the back completely, and I just try to focus on sports. You know, and looking back on it, that probably was a bad decision because I was never too good at sports. You know, I mean, I had fun playing with my friends, but when it came to like organized team sports, I mean, I was always more of like a street baller. I had no type of discipline back in the days. I didn't practice. I never went to the court. I had a basketball hoop in my backyard, and you know, I was okay, but you know, not good enough to make it to the NBA one day like I wanted to. So or the NFL, play football as well. And the funny thing is, so I put all that to the back burner. Once I realized sports wasn't gonna do it for me, wasn't gonna take me where I wanted to go, I decided, you know what? I'm gonna just focus on school, because outside of sports, that's the only thing I've really been good at. School was never that difficult for me. So I focused on school, focused on getting into college, going to SAT prep, doing everything I needed to do. Got into a few colleges. Eventually graduated high school, got into college, and again, hip hop was a part of my journey all the way through. By the time we get to college, I'm listening to artists like Gucci Mane, which is funny because I get into college and I start listening to the most hood trap rappers out there. You know what I'm saying? But it was great music for the time period. At the college time, I wanted to party, I wanted to have fun, and Gucci Mane provided the soundtrack for just having fun and partying. And the summer after my first year of college, I'm looking on my, this is back in the AIM days, the AOL Instant Messenger. I'm looking on my AIM and I see a rap directed towards one of my friend from another friend. So I'm reading it, I'm hitting him up like, yo, what's going on? And everyone's just laughing, clowning another friend in a rap. And then another friend, he decided, oh nah, you're not gonna clown my boy like that, because he rapped too. So he started dissing them. So next thing you know, my friends is going back and forth writing raps. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, two different crews started to form. One was called the I Gets Busy crew. You know what I'm saying? With my boy Mike and, a bunch of other of my friends. And then there's another crew that I was in called the Unit. You know what I'm saying? Basically inspired by G Unit. So you had the Unit versus the I Gets Busy crew. I signed to the Unit, and then we literally would battle rap against each other and put it in like the screensaver, the away message they used to call it. The funny thing about it was we was all friends, so we all knew each other. I mean, like really knew each other. We knew all the embarrassing things about each other. We knew each other's weaknesses. So I mean, you could only imagine a battle where people really know each other. I mean, it was brutal. Like, there was no such thing as going too far. We said any and everything we possibly could say. I mean, they used to make fun of me for not getting no girls. I would make fun of them for, you know what I'm saying, motherfuckers having big lips. I make fun of how they look, or I mean, just anything we could. A friend, a friend of mine, there was this girl. We was all in middle school, and he liked her. And then he asked her out on his birthday, and she turned him down, and he started crying. I mean, made fun of him because of that. I mean, it was brutal. Like, we gave zero fucks, and so it was funny. It was fun getting back into rap. I mean, I hadn't done it for so many years. I forgot how fun it was. But soon again, once that got old, put it to the back burner again. Next thing you know, I'm back to just being a listener. Now there was a lot of hip hop things going on in college. I mean, there was all type of beat battles. There was this there was a cipher that they did. And it was also a rap battle. I remember it was in the basement of one of the dorms. And obviously I participated in none of this, because again, I'm not thinking about myself as a rapper. To me it was just fun. But even at then, I'm like, it never occurred to me to join any of these things. And I was always somebody who, I was always a little shy growing up. So the only time I really rapped was in front of close friends. So there were people I probably known for years that never knew I rap. But again, I'm back to being just a listener. So, and around this time, I start, I'm working my jobs, little part-time jobs while I was in school. And I start going back in hip-hop history and buying a bunch of albums. Buying all the albums that I never got to hear growing up. So I start literally doing my homework and just taking a journey through hip-hop. Doing a lot of retroactive listening. A lot of stuff from the 90s. Mainly just from the 90s during this time. So I'm really starting to understand hip-hop and see it from a different light. You know what I'm saying? Because before that, I was just a singles guy. All I knew was the singles. The singles that they would put out. Because that's all I heard. There was only a few albums, like the Eminem album I heard. Just Lil Wayne album I bought back in like my junior year of high school. The Nelly album, my sister bought it. So, I went and I'll take it, burn it on my computer, give it back. But for the most part, I never really listened to too many albums. Once I graduated college, once I start getting a little depressed by life and just everything life had to offer, once you graduate from college, that's when you really see what life really is, when your life isn't organized for you. You don't see your friends as much, and then you start to realize the only reason you see your friends a lot is because we're in school, and because we're all concentrated in one place. Once we all go off and are doing our own thing, we barely see each other. Once I got to college, I never seen my high school friends. Once I graduated college, never seen my college friends. So hip hop became something more of like, instead of just a fun thing to listen to, it really became something that to get me through the day. Because I was going through all type of things, like a little bit of depression, a lot of stress, a lot of confusion, a lot of worry, thinking like, man, I don't know where my life is going. I graduated with a degree in economics, and I don't really even know if that's what I want to do with my life. A lot of people go through life or go through college having no idea what they want to do. So I didn't want to be one of those people with the undecided majors, and I didn't want to be somebody with a general major. So I just chose something that was the most practical, which was economics. Economics, every business needs an economist. So I just chose the most practical thing that could, that could fit into pretty much every single business. But once I got out, and people would ask, I say, hey, I'm gonna work in a bank or something. And truthfully, I knew I wasn't gonna work in no damn bank. The closest I came to working in a bank was Citizens Bank, doing, in a call center doing surveys. So the bank thing never happened. But so I started getting depressed, started really feeling the blues. And then finally I get to a point where I started becoming very introspective and started looking deep inside of myself and saying, you know what, since I don't know what I want to do, I'm going to get like 2 jobs and I'm going to just work. Matter of fact, excuse me. I'm going to get 2 jobs, work, and stack as much money as possible. So, and I'm going to start my own business. Because I knew I didn't want to work for anybody else. All the jobs that I had throughout my life, they just didn't fulfill me. They wasn't fun. I didn't want to excel in it. I didn't want to, I just didn't want to be there. So I figured it's best to start my own business. But then still, I'm like, what business do I start? I still didn't know. So eventually, again, like I always heard people say, it's the person who turns their hobby into a career never works a day in their life. So that's when I finally decided, let me look back into my childhood at something that I picked up that no one ever pushed me to do. First I started thinking sports. I'm like, sports. So even though being athlete, that was pretty much done. It was too late for that. I'm like 24, 25 years old, so obviously that it was too late for that. So I'm like, well, maybe I can work in the sports industry. I started looking up a few different jobs and still didn't see anything I liked, or I'm like, how do I even start to get in there? Like, how do I work for I actually came close to getting a job at Gillette Stadium, but I think I said something stupid in the interview. I said something about watching the games during my break or something like that. Stupid thing. And then I guess the guy realized that this guy doesn't want to really work here. He just wants to be a part of here, or he just wants to he thinks he's gonna watch the games instead of working. So obviously he didn't get that job. So then eventually I said, you know what about rap? Rap something that I always enjoyed. Even sports. I was pushed into sports. It was a great ride. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something I just came to on my own. Even though I used to play sports with my friends at the rec center, one of my coaches, one day coming out the rec center, growing up, he approached me and he talked about playing flag football. At first I was scared because I hadn't heard of flag football, so I'm just thinking what I see in the NFL. Guys tackling and it'll look real dangerous. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. And he's like, no, it's just flag. Saying. So that's how my whole football journey started. And by the time I was done with flag, I had so much fun, I wanted to play tackle. So that was one thing that I was pushed into. And music, hip hop was the only thing that I picked it up on my own. My mom never understood why I love hip hop so much. She thought it was just noise. And when I started to write, when I first started to write, it's not like my friends was like, hey, yo, let's write a song or something. I mean, I picked it up completely on my own and started doing it. It was always fun. So I heard one time that Biggie said to Lil Kim when she wanted to rap, he goes, look, write something, I'm gonna go on tour, come back in a couple months, and then I'm gonna see if you got better. And if you keep getting better, keep doing it. So I said to myself, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna write a rap, and I'm gonna keep writing, until like a month later. And I'm gonna compare what I wrote after a month to what I first wrote. And if I'm getting better, I'm gonna keep doing it and see how much better I got. So I did it, and then the first rap I wrote, I mean, it was tough. I hadn't written anything. It was like over 7 years of me not writing anything. But eventually things started improving. I started writing 16s a lot faster. And then eventually I moved on to songs once that got easy. And then eventually I kept, just kept writing. And I put a mixtape together. And so now this is my third attempt if you keep in score. And the thing about that was, they say third time's the charm. And I think this is when I finally realized this is what I'm supposed to do with my life. This is what God put me on this earth for. This is maybe what the universe has been telling me this whole time. Because for whatever reason, I keep just running back into hip hop. Even one of my coworkers at work, he would say to me all the time, he was like, man, he would see me on like the hip hop websites, Hip Hop DX, Dat Piff. I mean, just constantly consuming hip hop. And he was like, man, you're dying to get out there. Like your heart is calling for hip hop to get out in the culture. And I didn't even realize it. You know what I'm saying? Like every day I got into work, I'm on one of them hip hop sites. I'm checking the hip hop news. I'm downloading mixtapes. I mean, my whole life just revolved around hip hop. And that's when I finally started to realize, I'm like, this is what I was meant to do. This is definitely, the life for me. And so I just wanted to share that with y'all to let y'all know that whatever it is, your passion. I made a video before called Find Your Passion. This is how I found mine. And the funny thing is, it was right in front of my face the whole time. My whole life, I've been searching for what it is that I was meant to do. I've been doing it the whole time. You know what I'm saying? At first, I wanted to be a athlete. Mainly because all my friends play sports. You know, some of my friends were the top athletes in the state. You know, first team all state, second team all state. So I'm like, okay, that's what I want to do, because, you know, all my friends are doing it, and it just seemed more plausible. It seemed, you know, because I know you could go from playing rec league to playing high school, getting recruited to colleges. That, you know, that seemed a lot easier than, you know, a guy from a out of the way place like Rhode Island somehow becoming a huge rapper. You know, a lot of people just didn't see that in the plans. You know, and I was one of them. I didn't believe that was possible. You know, until finally I started writing on my own, and, you know, that's when I found myself. You know, so whatever your passion is, whatever your, you know, it's probably right in front of your face. It's probably something you've been doing since you was a child, and just waiting for you to tap into it and unlock that potential you have, and maybe you could attain your goal and make your dreams come true. I know I'm on the verge of doing that right now. You know, with this video, with everything I've been doing, with the raps, you know, the website, you know, by the time this comes out, I'm gonna have a website with a bunch of raps on there, a bunch of freestyles, and y'all gonna see all the hard work that I put in throughout the years. You know, I've been developing my talent throughout the years, and, you know, they say everything happens for a reason, and I definitely believe that. If everything didn't happen exactly the way it happened, you know, I wouldn't have had a story to tell. You know, I could have been a great rapper, but it wasn't until I went out into the world, you know, post college, and really felt what everyone else was feeling, the whole 9-to-5 struggle. That's when I finally realized what I would write about, which is just the struggle. You know, so a lot of my rhymes are introspective and focused on the struggle. You know, I could do all kind of rhymes. You know, anyone who's been studying their craft and mastering their craft, you know, there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, so to speak. You know, so anyway, these just my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Just wanted to share that with y'all and let y'all know that, you know, y'all ain't the only ones with dreams, and you have them, so you should chase them. You know, don't just settle for working this job and having this girlfriend and having kids and doing what everyone else is doing. What they know deep down in their heart isn't what they really want to do. You know, chase your goals and don't let anybody stop you. Most importantly, including yourself. All right, I'm out.